Hi, this is Janice from Space to Relax, and the video you're about to watch is a replay of a live class I taught on Zoom. These classes are free of charge for everyone to join, so please invite your family and friends. They're suitable for beginners and those of you with more Qigong experience. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then please don't forget to hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I hope you enjoy the class. Welcome to today's class, everyone. And today's class, it's quite a special day because this week is Kerry Mental Health and Wellbeing Festival. So Kerry is the county in which I live in south of Ireland. And as some of you may know, last Sunday was World Mental Health Day. So I offered to teach this free class to anyone from my local area of Kerry who wanted to join as part of our Kerry Mental Health and Wellbeing Festival. So for those of you joining, you're very welcome. Today's class is a repeat in some regard of a lesson which I taught some time ago, and it's in response to a request from one of my Space to Relax members, somebody who's in my 50-week membership program of Qigong lessons. And she asked me for a little review of a classical Qigong exercise called knocking on the heaven's door or opening the gate of life. So we're going to go through that again today with a little bit more focus on it. But if you have never done this exercise before, it doesn't matter because it's really easy. It's really very simple to follow along with. But what we want to do to begin with is just to start and get ourselves into a good position. So what we want to do is look down at our feet. So you're standing ideally and having the feet hip width distance apart. The feet need to be parallel if possible. Now, in last week's class, we did a little variation of the Qigong stance. So if you find that you're a little bit tight around the hips, you can move the feet further apart, or you can allow the toes to point slightly out to the sides, if that gives you a little bit more ease around the lower back and the hip area. So find a position that's comfortable for you. And by comfortable, I mean so that you feel as though you're well balanced, that you've got good contact with the floor, that you feel really well grounded. And then maybe just rocking forwards and backwards between the balls of the feet and the heels without losing your balance. And then coming to a central position where you feel as though the weight is evenly distributed between the heels and the balls of your feet. When you're in that position, just a little bend in the knees, and relaxing the arms, give them a little shake out. Drop the shoulders, move them well away from the earlobes. And closing the mouth, bring a smile to the corners of your mouth and breathing in and out through the nose. As you breathe in, feel the belly expand in all directions. And as you breathe out, feeling the belly shrink, a bit like you're blowing up an imaginary balloon. So really relaxing in the abdominal area. And you might want to close your eyes just for a few breaths. And now gently opening the eyes. Now, before we perform this exercise of opening the gate of life, what we want to do is make sure that before we can start doing any interesting exercises or movements to encourage the flow of healthy chi or energy around our bodies, we want to make sure that we've got rid of anything in our bodies that really maybe doesn't feel so good. So that could be a physical sensation of an ache, a pain, of some stiffness, any discomfort physically, or it can also be something mental or emotional, as we're in Kerry Mental Health and Wellbeing Festival this week. So really our mental health, we can accumulate mental baggage or rubbish inside our bodies and in our minds as well. So this little exercise I'm going to show you next is a way in which we can get rid of the crap before we start doing any work with our lovely, clean, fresh, healthy chi. So again, checking that your feet are shoulder width distance apart, you've got this nice little bend in the knees. This exercise is called Discharge with a Vibration. And I have taught this exercise before, and I'll put a reference to a link with a previous video that you can look at when I post out the replay of this video. But I was thinking of a way in which you could maybe visualize this a little bit more. And it came to me just this afternoon. I had a really great thought about an analogy of how you could think of using this vibration movement, which we use in this exercise. So what I want you to do is imagine that you're at the bottle of fizzy drink, a fizzy drink that you're going to shake up and really promote lots of bubbles and lots of kind of pressure on the inside as you shake the bottle, okay? So just let's begin with that first of all. So have that idea in your mind that you're a bottle of fizzy drink and you're going to start shaking. So you shake the body by bouncing up and down, flexing in the ankles, flexing in the knees, and being very relaxed with the rest of your body. So as though you're a puppet on a string or a rag doll. So shaking, vibrating, and really agitating what's inside. So a bit like you would with the bottle of fizzy drink, really agitating the bubbles. But instead of the bubbles being bubbles, what I want you to think of those as is any kind of waste in your body, physical discomfort, mental stress, anything that you really don't want in your body. You want to agitate it and really kind of give it some movement, give it some dynamism on the inside of your body. So as you're vibrating like this and you're really relaxed, what you'll find is that your wrists become very floppy. If I turn to the side, you'll see that my wrist joints are really loose. I'm not holding my hands stiff like this. I'm really being very loose with everything. And also, as I continue with this, and especially if I make the amplitude of this vibration a little bit bigger, you'll see when I look straight ahead, I'll demonstrate, you see that my neck does the same thing. Now, please be careful if you have any neck issues not to overdo it, but really just let everything be loose and relaxed. So as I turn to face the front now, you'll see that my head and my neck nod up and down. So I'm just going with the flow with this, keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. So you're shaking what's going on in the inside, agitating that. So you're building up the pressure, and at some point, the pressure's got to give, it's got to release. So just close your eyes for a moment, continuing with that vibration, and imagine on the surface of your skin, the pores of your skin are getting bigger and opening up. So really starting to open up. And as you open them, it's a bit like taking the lid off the drinks bottle. Everything is going to fizz out and overflow to the outside. So opening up all the pores is like allowing the bubbles out of the bottle. So allow that to come out, coming out, bubbling up through the surface of your skin and escaping. And that is all your waste chi, anything physical in terms of aches, pains, or stiffness, or anything more mental or emotional, like sadness, grief, anger, frustration, fear, anxiety, anything that you feel needs to be released from your body and your mind at this time. Now, just to make sure all the pores are open and that this waste chi is escaping from every surface of your body, open your eyes for a moment and lift the arms up in front of you if your shoulders will allow. And then see in your mind's eye the waste chi escaping from the lower parts of the arms, the undersides of your arms. And maybe moving them out to the side, keeping the wrists nice and relaxed. Allowing the hands down back by your sides. And now just leaning forwards very slightly, hinging from the hips, not stressing the lower back, looking down towards the floor and seeing in your mind's eye everything fizzing out from the face, from the chest, from the lower abdomen and the fronts of the legs. And then coming back up to upright and leaning back now, very gently. You don't need to drop the head back. Keep looking straight ahead to protect your neck. But in your mind's eye, See everything fizzing out from the back of your head, down through the back of the neck, the whole of the back, the buttocks and the backs of the legs. Coming back to upright again. And then very gently just tipping and leaning to one side. You don't need to create a huge bend, but in your mind's eye, see everything fizzing out through the sides of your body, from the side of the head all the way down your arm, your leg, down to the side of your foot, back to upright, and then across to the other side. Breathing in and out through the nose and keep smiling, knowing with great confidence that you are facilitating your body and your mind to expel anything that you don't want at this time. And coming back to upright again. And then just gradually decrease the amplitude of this movement. Coming back to the breath, maybe closing the eyes, breathing in through the nose, feel the belly expand. And breathing out through the nose, feel the belly shrink. And observe anything that you feel in your body or your mind right now. I can feel my heart beating a little bit faster, and my breathing is a little bit faster right now because I've been physically moving the body. So just coming back to the breath and allowing all of that to settle. And also observing how you feel in the physical body. Have you released aches, pains, and stiffness? And if not, if you feel that there's something still there, then you may want to go back to that at a later date. Just spend a little bit more time maybe focusing on that particular part of the body and really in your mind's eye seeing anything, any waste chi leaving that particular part of your body. And mentally now, what's going on in your mind? Is the mind any bit clearer? Maybe less heavy, less foggy, less sluggish? So observing what you feel. And gently opening the eyes now. So that exercise of discharge with vibration is a bit like taking a shower on the inside, an inner shower. And so we all are very familiar with maybe when we come home after a day being out and about doing whatever we're doing, we might feel a little bit kind of groggy and a little bit kind of grimy on the outside. So we go and take a shower and then usually would feel much better afterwards. So that's an external shower, obviously. But what we can do with Qigong is we can take this inner shower by using discharge with vibration. So that's cleaning everything on the inside. And I thought you might just enjoy that idea of the fizzy drink bottle and just releasing and opening up, allowing everything to leave the body in that very kind of dynamic way. And that might be very helpful for some of you in order to visualize that. So now that we've cleared everything from our body, or as much as possible in that short space of time, we're going to move on to the next part of the class today. With the feet shoulder width distance apart again, a little bend in the knees, what we're going to do first of all is begin with a little bit of abdominal breathing. So closing the eyes, breathing in and out through the nose, smiling. And just 3 abdominal breaths. Breathe in, feel the belly expand. Breathing out, feeling the belly shrink. And then twice more in your own time. And opening the eyes. So what we're going to do first of all is we are going to find this point on the body called the gate of life. So this point in acupuncture and in Qigong, Chinese medicine terms, its Chinese name is Ming Men. and it's on the spine in the lower half of the spine, in the lower part of the back. So the way in which you can find it, and I'll show you what to do now, is to place your hands on your rib cage and just run your hands down the rib cage until you can feel the very bottom of the rib cage. So the thumbs are pointing towards the back, your fingers towards the front, and it's almost like you kind of find that lower margin of the rib cage there. And from there, what I'd like you to do with your thumbs is move them horizontally back across the body, across the back of the body, so that they meet each other. Now, if your shoulders are not that flexible, that's fine, but just have that idea of your thumbs meeting. So I'll just turn around and show you what I'm doing. And then this point here is Ming Men, so in where the thumbs meet. So you don't have to be exact for this, because you're not obviously doing acupuncture on this point, you're not using any needles, but you just need to have that idea that this point, Ming Men, is on that, well, in the spine, so it's below the skin surface, it's not directly on the skin surface, it's a little bit below the skin surface, in the spine, in the lower back there. And that point is called the gate of life in Chinese medicine and in Qigong. And it's a very beneficial point acupuncture-wise for helping to nourish the kidney system of the body. It's also obviously very good for any kind of lower back pain. And what we can do with Qigong, with this specific Qigong exercise, is allow the free and unobstructed movement of qi and really allow for the conditions for more qi to come into this point in the spine, the gate of life, and thereby benefiting that whole kind of lower back kidney area. So you know where it is now, you know where Ming Men is, and you can look that up anywhere online. You'll find the location of that point if you want more clarification around that. But what we want to do as well is we want to make sure that it's open. It's as open as it can be. And often it's not. And the reason being that when we're standing, we often stand with a curve in our spine. So if I show you now from the side, what you can see is if often people kind of have the bottom sticking out and their belly sticking out and this really kind of quite strong curve in the spine here. And when the spine is curved like this, what happens to the vertebrae, the bones in the back, is they all kind of get squashed together. So what we want to do is open them up. And the way in which we do that is we tuck the pelvis down and forwards. So you're imagining that the buttocks are going down and then everything's moving forwards and you're lifting a little in the abdomen. So you've got this idea of a movement coming down and round and up. So if I show you what that looks like, so this is the curved spine here. And then if I move the buttocks down, the tailbone goes down, and then the pelvis draws up, the abdomen draws up, and you see how my back, my lower back, flattens out. So this then opens up and creates spaces between all the vertebrae. So just have a go at that now. Just practice rounding and really squashing everything together in the lower back and feel the tension. You can feel the muscles all kind of contracting and everything getting a bit more squashed in that area. And then rounding and moving the pelvis forwards and lifting up in the abdomen to create more space in the spine, and feel that lovely openness here in the lower back around Ming Men. Feeling that openness is a sign that you've really got lots of space in the area, and when there's space, there's room for healing to take place. There's space for qi or energy and for blood and fluid to move into the area and to circulate freely around that area. So that's a really important point. There's no point in doing this exercise at all unless you've got the spine in the correct position. So just moving backwards and forwards, you can very easily feel the difference. Okay, so you want that lovely flat back for this. So now, what I'd like you to do is I want you to imagine that your spine is a solid rod of steel from top to bottom. So from the base of your neck all the way down to the area of your lower back, your spinal area there. So just imagining that. And then close the eyes for a moment See that rod of steel. So your spine now is completely inflexible. It's like all the vertebrae are fused together. Open the eyes. And so what I'd like you to do now is I want you to turn to one side, but you've still got this rod of steel. So you're going to turn to one side, and the hips, the whole of the torso and the shoulders are all going to move to one side and then move to the other side. So it's almost like a robotic movement. Everything's moving together. Okay. So this is an example of what not to do when we're opening the gate of life. What we want to do is create a lovely twist, especially in the lower back and the waist area. So that's everything moving together. So we want to avoid that. Okay. The next thing we often make the mistake of doing in our practice for this exercise is only moving the hips. So just have a go at that now. So bring your mind to your hip area here and think of moving this hip area side to side. So you see the hips go to one side, the knees and the legs go to one side. Everything is moving, but it's all coming from the hips, around the tops of the legs. And you might even feel a bit of discomfort in the knees as you do this, because it's kind of stretching and extending the tendons and the ligaments of the sides of the knees. So again, that's not the best way in which to perform this exercise. What we're actually looking for is we're looking for rotation in this lower half of the body, all the way around. So imagine that you've got a big kind of fat, wide belt that's going around your body here. And this is the area in which you want to create a lovely spiraling kind of twisting action, which in combination with that lovely open spine that you've just created will help to mobilize and bring more qi into this area of Ming Men, the gate of life. So this is where we're at. So I was trying to think of ways in which you could visualize or really get that twist going on without involving the hips or the shoulders too much. And what you can do is just taking one arm to one side here. Imagine it's as though you're kind of wringing out a cloth. So if you imagine, as you turn the body to one side now, you're starting in this lower abdomen area where you've got the belt, and you're wringing all the way up. So you will get some movement in the shoulders, but it's like you're starting down here, and maybe even just take the arm and draw it around and feel that twist in the lower back area. And then there will be a follow through of shoulders and chest area as well, but it's coming from this lower area to start with. You're not leading with the shoulders. And then go back the other way, even just drawing that lower abdominal area around. And then you feel in the lower back around here, you feel a little bit more action going on. So hopefully that will kind of help you to keep this area in mind as we do the exercise. So what I'd like you to do now is very slowly just start to turn and be very mindful of that lower back area, just turning from side to side very gently, keeping the chin parallel with the ground. So allow the shoulders to follow, but remember that the movement is originating in that waist lower back area. So the hips will follow as well, but not all the way around like this. So it's not this kind of movement, that's too much. So the hips more or less point straight ahead. There is a little bit of sideways movement as the hips follow, but the movement is coming from that lower back area. So once you're kind of familiar with that movement now, I'd like you to bring in a little bit more, and that is a bit more of this vibration just on the knees. So just very softly bouncing up and down on the knees as you are turning side to side. But you're not thinking of the knees really, you're thinking of what's going on in the lower back area. Keeping the pelvis tucked down, abdomen drawing up slightly as you turn from side to side. And as you do this movement, you see that my arms start to just follow the movement. So again, feeling as though everything's very relaxed, The arms like a rag doll, and they're just following along. And as you turn a little bit more, you'll notice that the backs of the hands start to hit off the back of your body. So really around the kidney area is where they're generally hitting off. And you can actually go quite large with this movement once you're familiar with it. And the larger you go, you'll find that the forearms start to hit off the back of the body. So this is all helping to stimulate the flow of energy, of qi, of blood and fluid in the lower back area, which is where the gate of life is located. So keeping going with this and keeping the movement nice and soft. Now, if you find that there's an issue with your knees, there's any pulling on your knees, you can kind of step a little bit, turn it into more of a dance. Just be comfortable with it. Just be very easy and relaxed. Maybe close the eyes, and this then is a little bit more challenging for your balance. And you can perform this exercise for as little or as long a time as you want. But as I said, what it's doing is bringing more energy into the kidney area. Kidney's been involved, obviously, with urination, but also in Chinese medicine, connected with sexuality, sexual reproduction, water balance. And this exercise on a physical level is helping to keep the lower back mobile and flexible. Opening the eyes now. Reduce the amplitude of that movement, coming back to your Qigong stance, closing the eyes, place one hand over the lower abdomen, the other one directly on top of that. Coming back to your abdominal breathing in and out through the nose. And enjoying a sense of peace, calmness, clarity, tranquility, and inner silence. Just taking a look inwards. And now, still with the eyes closed, bring the hands together in front of you and rubbing them until they get really, really hot in the palms. And then placing one palm over each eye, fingers facing up towards the ceiling. Feeling the heat from the palms radiating through the eyes, through the backs of the eyes, into the mind to nourish the mind. And then giving your face a little rub to bring yourself back into the room. As you do that, gently opening the eyes. Allow the hands to drop down by your sides. I hope you enjoyed the class today, everyone. So for those of you who want to take this a little bit further, you can always find links to the other exercises, or some of these exercises. I'll put associated links in the replay of the video that I send out, so you can follow that on in a little bit more detail. If you have any questions, then you can email me, janice@spacetorelax.com, or you can put a comment in our free Facebook group, which is Space to Relax Free Qigong Group. So you're very welcome to join that. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it, send it to your friends and family. And as well, these classes are free. They're free for everyone, but you can donate if you want to. There's a donation link when I send out the replay and an email from this video for those of you who are on my email list. Half of the proceeds will go to the nurses in the intensive care unit in my local hospital here in Kerry. The other half goes towards the upkeep of the website. So you're very welcome to donate if you would like to. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this Qigong lesson, then there are 4 things you can do right now. The first thing is to head over to my website, which is spacetorelax.com, and there you'll see that you can join up for a free 3-part video series. The second thing you can do is click the link next to this video to sign up for the live Qigong classes, as I teach these once a week. The third thing you can do is go over to Facebook if you're on Facebook and look for Space to Relax free Qigong group. That's my free group where you can post any questions, and please do join the group. And the fourth thing is, if you're watching this video on YouTube, then please hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson and look forward to seeing you in the next video.